IVM.
Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach podcast. I am Ashdin, doctor, your habit coach. And today we're going to be talking about a very interesting aspect of our life, which is understanding what it means to be free. There's freedom in different ways. And we keep talking and listening about, I want freedom. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to do this. But what is the essence of freedom? How do we create freedom in our lives? And I have a fantastic guest with us. I was introduced to him very recently and I have been following his online courses and I'm absolutely loving them. So I said, we must definitely do this particular episode on the Habit Coach podcast. So welcome, Siddharth Rajsekar.
Thank you. Great to be here.
I am so excited because I've been listening to your story over the videos that you've been putting up, the online courses that you've been putting up. And it's absolutely fantastic on how to create online courses, how to create learning as an environment. And your story is so inspiring. So, Siddharth, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my story is a Alice in Wonderland story. Never knew I would be in this space, what I'm doing, teaching people, coaching people online, doing courses. Never even thought about that because I dropped out of college, scored 28% my maths board exams because calculus never went into my head. When I would see the integration symbol, brain would switch off, and the main thing is it was not so inspiring. I still remember the first day when I went into maths tuition, second PUC, Bangalore. I studied in Bishop Gordon's. I had a good, ICSE. Of course, I was not a great student. But when I came after school, when I went into college, I never felt like sitting in classrooms. I was an outstanding student standing outside class most of the time. Okay. And playing snooker and all that stuff. So, right. So it was quite predictable that I failed in math. The reason why that happened was I still remember the first day when I went into my maths tuition. It was like a dark and, it was a dark room. I was sitting there, like 40 students there, really hot. And we were very typical lower middle class family. That was the only thing we could afford at that point of time. And the master walks in, first day of maths tuition class. And then he slams the textbook on the table. And he says this, he said, all of you here, if you're going to enjoy this 1 year, you're going to suffer your whole life. If you're going to suffer this 1 year, you can enjoy your whole life.
Wow.
That was the first day of my maths tuition. And inside, when I was like that 17, 18-year-old, the rebel kicked in and I said, I'm not going to come back. So
screw this.
Yeah, screw it. And that was the first and last day I went for maths tuition. My parents thought I used to go for tuitions, but I was outside. That's a typical college, experience of where I never attended tuitions. So I think that was also a starting point where when I felt I was contained, when I did not have freedom, I just did not take it up. So long story short, failed my 12th. Then I went for the supplementary exams and I found another teacher who was a more one-to-one teacher. And I really loved the way that he taught. It was different from this experience. So I just passed, I scraped through and I pushed through my supplementary. But what ended up happening is when I failed math, in that 2 months, I was in this whole mode of self-discovery because all my family members are well educated, engineers and BE, MS, typical Tambram kind of, everybody. And I was like the black sheep. The guy failed 12th and it felt really odd. And luckily, I found a course in sound engineering. I saw a newspaper ad. And I saw this, and I've been playing keyboard since the age of 10. So I thought, let me go to Chennai and check it out. I still remember I went with my mom. We took the train, Shatabdi, went to Chennai. And the day I entered the studio, I felt at home. It's like the environment was so different as compared to that dark and dingy room in maths tuition versus this. And the teachers were all just a little older than me, very friendly. And that course, it was a 9-month diploma course in sound engineering. I scored 92% in that course.
Wow.
And they recruited me back to start teaching there when I was just 19 years old. So even till today, I do not have any degree next to my name. But the reason I'm sharing this part is the drastic difference in the environment and the way that the teaching happens. That makes a huge difference. So, for me, the reason I was able to score well was because I was in an environment that was conducive to the learning. I was passionate about the topic. And I had the freedom, to express myself and not just be contained. So that happened. that journey took me to Dubai for a few years. I did 3 years of teaching. Many of my close friends are in the movie industry with A.R. Rahman, Bollywood, Hollywood. But I did not get into the movie industry composing. I'm a composer too. I also make music. Even now, but it's just as a hobby, not going mainstream. So I went into the ringtone industry. I used to make ringtones for mobile phones for 3 to 4 years. In Dubai Internet City, I used to get these CDs that used to come from all these, T Series and Saregama and all these different record labels. And I used to listen to them and sequence the whole thing out into MIDI ringtones, music for games, and test them all out on various devices. From the most basic Nokia device, monophonic ringtones, all the way up to the Moto Razor, which was like the big thing in those days,
Correct. So as soon as polyphonic came in, it was like game changing.
Yes. Seriously. And I think it was a fad also for many people. And after that, when I think MP3 and all came in, everybody started to create their own ringtone. So the industry went down also over there.
Yeah.
But I rode that wave of that polyphonic ringtone days. And in 2011, by that time, I had grown up the corporate ladder. I had a whole team of ringtone makers. I came back to India, was working a lot with Tata Teleservices, doing work. And the VAS industry was going down. At that point of time, my boss calls me into his cabin and he says, Sid, you've been a great employee in this company. We've grown this from nothing to little like 50 employees working. But, we have some structural changes in the organization and this vertical we have to close down. So I'm so sorry. Bye-bye. Okay.
Just like that.
Just like that. One of the days I was like, what the hell is happening here? And my wife was 3 months pregnant at that point of time. And I did not have a degree. I still don't have a degree. And I was thinking, okay, what am I going to do now? Should I go back and find a job, or should I start a business? And financially, I was not in a very good position at all. So thankfully, support from family was there. And I took a lot of courses in internet marketing, 6-month period. And by the end of that, I set up my own small social media agency along with my business partner. So just three of us, both of us came together, and we hired one more guy to do web design and like a very small thing, social media agency. And I had also learned how to build WordPress websites, and I took a course on how to set up a social media agency, like how do you structure the packages, and how what all you can do on Facebook, what all you can do on Twitter. So I actually learned that in 6 months. And I gained that knowledge, and we launched the thing, and we started to get some clients coming, some projects that came in. And before I knew it, thanks to BNI, I was also a BNI member. We were able to open doors. And one of the big projects that we did as an agency, we were still a small agency only, was Jack Canfield's first ever event that happened in Bangalore in Christ College Auditorium. We did the lead generation for that. So
fantastic.
That was like a game changer. And so I got to meet Jack Canfield. And that event was successful. We filled a room of close to 1,000 people were there. So whatever I'd learned in those 6 months.
Guys, just to put things in context, Jack Canfield is one of the authors of The Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Yes.
Right. And whenever anybody asks me which is the one book that I should read, I normally say Jack Canfield's Success Principles is one of the first starting points that you should get on board with.
Absolutely.
So Jack Canfield is right up there with, when we learn about yourself and self-help and all of that.
Absolutely. And he's like the publishing phenomenon of the decade. He's sold like 300 million copies. And I mean, for me to actually see him up close was like a fan moment for me, and doing work for him and stuff. So it was a great experience. And then we ran that agency for very successfully for 6 years. When I say successfully, we did some great projects. Then I started to do a lot more trainings, because for 2 years after running campaigns for people like Jack Canfield, then we did work with Robert Kiyosaki, his event. Again, because we were in that event space and personal development space, a lot of opportunities opened up through the networks. Then even Tony Robbins has Unleash the Power Within event that happens in London. For 3 years, we did the lead generation for that. So we were one of the agencies. They have many agencies that used to fill up those rooms. So we gained an expertise in one area. And then I started to speak on stages. I started to do typical workshops, social media workshops. Did more than 60, 70 workshops all across India, Middle East, went to Dubai also. Did some trainings over there. But what ended up happening was, everything was looking good on the outside. Like, yes, running an agency, 35 employees, speaking on the stages. I would know after I finish a workshop and come back after paying all the expenses, teams, marketing, hotel costs, banquet costs, I'll come back and I'll be looking at the sheet and I'll be like, okay, minus 20,000, minus 30,000 rupees. And sometimes it would go like 20,000 rupees profit. Okay, good. But for the time, I felt good as a trainer, but for the time, energy, effort, and everything that would, and the time that went into it, there was not much profits. And now coming to the business model, we were running an agency. We had a lot of clients, and of course, in agency models also, that sometimes payments get delayed, clients don't pay on time, especially Indian clients. Our international clients would pay on time. And the sad truth,
cash in hand, working capital.
Working capital was really tough. But because we had to pay the salaries, we had to pay the taxes, we had to pay the teams, we had to pay infrastructure costs, advertising costs, tool costs. And as an entrepreneur, well, everybody was thinking like, okay, Siddharth Rajsekar, agency owner stuff. I would know when I would take my wife out for a dinner, we would go to a restaurant, I would open the menu card, I'll see on the right side, whichever was the cheapest item, I would buy that. No cash flow. And I had to, keep my head up. Let me put it this way. Personal development, because it was there was always this thing in the mind, okay, one day it'll happen. Okay. And that one day never happened for more than 3 years. And my wife and I would have like endless conversations. In fact, there was a moment where I got an offer from Flipkart. Okay. So I was still in the agency. We were in the agency. And I got this offer. I do not know how the connection happened. And it was a pretty awesome offer. Okay. Like it was at least some 5 times of what I was drawing from this company.
Correct.
And I turned it down. And my wife was like furious. She was like, come on. We've been struggling for so many years. You've got this opportunity in this big conglomerate now. And why not take it up? I knew inside that, once I get into that world, it's going to be back to, the corporate world, and I didn't want to get into that. I wanted that freedom again. So I knew that though there's the monetary gain, but it was not aligning with my values. Let's put it that way. So I still remember the conversation in the car. Vanita and I were sitting, and then we just like heated conversation. And then she said, why? And then I just said this one thing. I said, Vanita, I'm willing to be underpaid for a few years of my life so that I can be overpaid for the rest of my life. Just trust me on this once. And I'm glad that she did. She trusted me. She allowed me to do what I do best. And so from that mode in 2000, so 6 years of agency. In that, the last 3 years was like it was a phase where I had the knowledge, I had the skills. It was not reflecting in the bank account. And 2018 was another pivoting point because I had to really drop the ego and surrender to mentor. I was seeing a webinar by one of my mentors. His name is Vic Strizes from the US. And he was not running a typical like services-based business. He was running a product-based business, information product-based business, doing very successful, over $1 million a month, very profitable, lean and mean team. That really clicked because I wanted freedom. Because you see, it's like I started the business thinking I'm going to be my own boss. But by end of year 6, I had 35 bosses, 35 employees to take care of, and no freedom, no money, no time. It was frustrating. So I know there are some services business that do really well, but in my case, I take responsibility of it. I would not blame anybody for the situation but me. Okay, and that's where I realized, okay, I need to change. If nothing changes, nothing will change.
Yeah.
So I had to change, and my wife was pregnant for the second time. A second child was about to be born in May, and this time I had to make it. It was more like a do or die situation. I have to make it happen, otherwise the expenses are going to be there. The kid is coming, and I wanted to be there more with the family, and spending more time at home as the child is growing up in the initial years. All that is such an important journey. So surrendered to this one mentor, followed his system like to the T, and I transitioned from the product of services business to product business. So I empowered the second line team. I spoke to my business partner and said, you know what, hey, I think I need to transition into this next phase of my journey. Always there to help and support. I was still there in the company, attending all the calls, but I was not in the operations. I just passed that to the other teams. Correct. And within 3 months, I was able to literally 10x my income. 10x. That was the number. Yeah. So I was doing like 1 lakh. I was drawing from the company, little around that range, 10 lakhs per month, 15 lakhs per month, 2018, like within 3 months. And from that moment till today, it has never come down. It's only kept growing. The reason why that growth happened was because of 3 principles. And I shared this even in my webinars also. First principle is focus is the most valuable asset. I mean, this is what my mentor told me. He said, time is not the most valuable asset. Your focus is your most valuable asset. Because I was not focused. I was following so many different things online. There was the shiny object syndrome, which is there in the online space. There's always something new. And I was not on one track. So when I followed one track, one mentor, in fact, I unsubscribed from all emails. I deleted all social media apps from my phone. In fact, even now, I don't have Instagram, Facebook on my phone. Everything is I get others to do it. And that focus helped me spend more of my time in creating than consumption. When you create more than you consume, you'll get rich. I mean, creating ideas, creating strategies, creating systems, creating content, courses, that really helped me in those 3 months. Then the second principle was my mentor said, systems work, people fail. That was happening with me. And I was just failing because I was not following one system. I was like a butterfly jumping from one thing to the other. So
correct.
Following one system, one recipe based on what he gave me, that got me results. And the third one was it was like a big one for me. He said, don't be cheap on your journey towards greatness.
Wow.
Okay. And I used to be cheap in the way that I would build my business. Like I would download cracked softwares and torrent courses and stuff. The day I heard that, I stopped everything. In fact, I had a whole hard disk because I'm a musician. Also, I had all these sound samples and all these different plugins and stuff. That day, I deleted the whole thing and I said, from today, I'm going to pay for everything.
Correct.
And that is also an important principle that that really helped me scale up. And even from the day I started this business, I paid all my taxes on time. If I had to buy any information or buy courses, I would buy that. I would not torrent it anymore because I know when there's a value exchange, it'll add value to my life. In fact, it added more value to my life when there was a value exchange. And so all of these internal shifts changed the game for me. So long story short, now that's the build up towards what has happened in the last 3 years. Been able to build a multi-million-dollar business, over 11,000 paid customers in my community of trainers, coaches, speakers. And you know what? I've just stuck to the same principles. Lean and mean team, just 2 or 3 freelancers who work for me. And more freedom, more time, and more impact. Like, I mean, compared to before, I'm really able to see that there's a lot more impact. The impact that I'm able to deliver with leveraging technology is far beyond what it was. And the journey is because, I mean, this journey has moved in this way because of finding the right mentor who showed me the way at the right time. And also, when they say, right, when the student is ready, the master appears, that happened for me. And when the master appeared, I surrendered to the master. I never questioned his intention. And I chose my mentor based on not just his results, but based on his value system. Because there are many people who like to flash things and, who show off stuff. That was really, I wasn't able to connect with that. He's also like very family oriented, spiritually oriented, grounded, value first, no flash. So all of these things, and he's got the result also. So all of these things integrated. And so I had to just follow this person, and that's what changed the game for me. So today, what started off as, okay, let me build more financial security for my family, which is very important. Like even when you get on a flight, they say, right, put oxygen for yourself first, then you can put it for others. So I needed that vitamin M for myself first. And so now the mission has evolved into the same journey what I experienced. The reason I was able to achieve these breakthroughs was because I found a mentor who is an implementer. So now my mission is to create an army of mentors who are implementers, and that can change our whole system of education, our whole employment system. And so that's the journey.
Beautiful. It is, there are aspects of freedom that you can pick up throughout this entire journey that you went on. So for example, this whole concept of having a very, very lean organization, right? Normally I had so many people message me saying that, Ashdin, I want to start a business, but I don't have money. Right? I want to start a business, but I don't do this, but I can't do this. I don't have resources. And I keep telling people that resources is the last thing that you should be worrying about. Resources will appear. You have to be creative with them. But the idea is that see how lean you can make it. And that is the critical part of it. Not having overheads, not having employees, because it sounds cool on paper, 50% team. But the idea is that these are all chains that you're creating for yourself unnecessarily.
Absolutely.
And if you're looking at freedom, you don't want the chains. I love this point. And the way that you were talking about saying that, going from one aspect of life, college or jobs, etc., to this mode, during those 3 years where you didn't know what was happening, money was not enough, etc., you would have lots of people coming in critiquing you.
Yes.
I'm sure you'd have family and friends saying that, "Arey, what you're doing." How did you deal with people at that point of time?
So luckily, thanks to personal development, and I was following, people like Jack Canfield and Brian Tracy and all these names. I knew that I had to surround myself with the right people. So even though there were people who were apparently not aligned with the vision, but I would really not take it so much to heart because, let me put it this way. I've had at least 2 rounds of, experiences in life where people thought that I was just a loser. Okay. First moment was when I failed my 12th. And then I proved it in 1 year. So it's like I came out of it. Then when I lost my job, another moment, then I was able to put something together in 2 or 3 years. So I really never bothered too much about what other people used to think about me. And when it comes to critiquing also, I think because I had shielded myself with that thought process, not many of those people even showed up. There could be probably 1 or 2, but never really paid heed to that. Yes.
Yeah. Choosing the people that you hang out with is one of the best ways of defending yourself against things like
Absolutely,
this.
Yes.
Right? You get people who are constantly in the, criticizing, complaining, comparing, that kind of category, and they are just a drain on your system.
Yes.
Love it. So now, people are listening to this podcast and saying, okay, I want freedom. What should there be the next step of thinking about it? Like how should they think about either financial freedom or freedom from work or freedom in life? How should they take this as the next step?
Very good question. In fact, I want to say that freedom is not free. You got to pay a price. Okay. And there is some things that you got to do for you to achieve freedom. So again, freedom is a very broad word and a term, and it could mean many things for many different people. It's a very subjective thing. So I think the first step is you need to be clear about what do you really want in your life. I still remember in 2015, when I was still going through the grind, I wrote a 14-page document on my perfect day. Okay, I actually sat, how would I wake up in the morning? What would I do when the first thing in the morning? And then I just kept writing, like as though it was in the moment. And at that point, everything was the opposite. No freedom, no time, no money, nothing. What I just learned about this whole visualization concept, and I wrote down like the perfect day. And I'm really amazed that today, at least 80 to 90% of it, I'm living it right now. What I wrote like 5 years back.
Wow.
So the first step is to get clear, because I had clarity on what I wanted. It's like the reticular activation system, a guided missile. Once you know what you want, you will start to see things and opportunities in your life that you will start to take up. In fact, I'll give you an example. Once my son and I, we are going to board a flight. And halfway, we were going towards the airport. I realized that I forgot his Aadhaar card, his ID proof. If I turn back, we're going to miss the flight. So luckily, I remembered that I have a digital copy of it. I just need to go to a print shop and get a printout. So I told the cab driver, which was the nearest print shop, let's stop. So within 3 minutes, we found a print shop, went there, pulled up my phone, emailed it to them, got the printout, and then got back to the car. We were on time. And as I was going towards the airport, I saw at least 15 other print shops on the way. Okay. And now this is an example of reticular activation system. So yeah, if the Aadhaar card was already there with me, I would have never seen those print shops.
Yeah.
And that's what happens even when you are clear about what you want. So the first step to answer freedom is when you know what you want, you will start to see things which are in alignment to what you want. in life.
Correct.
It could be people, resources, things, and even I'm sure even we also connected that way because we totally align in the values, and even what this podcast is all about. So you also will start to connect and associate with those kind of people. So that's the first step. Then the second step is freedom only happens when, or let's put it this way, I define freedom in 3 levels. Okay, so the first level of freedom is you need the financial freedom. Money is important. In fact, one of my other mentors is a great copywriter, John Carton. He says money can solve a lot of problems that not having money brings about. Okay, like a typical middle class family, and even the programming is more like money is the root of all evil, or money does not grow on trees, or all this stuff, right? Rich people are bad.
Chori karke kamaya hai.
Absolutely.
They've stolen something and that's why they're rich.
Exactly. So you cannot aspire to be someone that you despise. So the one is being clear about what you want, but on the other side, you also need to understand that if you want to be rich, if you want to be successful, you want to have financial freedom, you also need to look at embracing what that is like.
Yeah.
And reprogramming your own negative beliefs about money. It's like we all have this hard disk in our head. We have got an operating system. Okay. In fact, this example my mentor gives me, he says, if you have an outdated operating system, no matter what latest program or application you install on that, it's going to crash. Like if you have Windows 95 sitting here, you put like latest version of Photoshop, it's going to crash and burn. So when it comes to freedom, you need to first reprogram yourself to be ready for that, to be able to install, like even the internet marketing world now, digital marketing, there's so many apps and tools and this and that. Okay. And there are so many strategies, Facebook ads, and so many strategies. But unless somebody is ready at an OS level, no matter what strategy they install in their hard disk, it's not going to work. That's why 80-90% people fail.
Correct.
So coming back to the point over here, it is once you're clear about what you want, the first level of freedom is financial freedom. For financial freedom, you got to fix your financial thermostat, if I should say that, and all the way.
Yeah.
Then the next level is time freedom. So time freedom will come only once this financial freedom is there. There are some people who have time freedom but who are not financially free. So that you have both the sides of the spectrum. So financial freedom first, time freedom. And for me, the third level of freedom is more like freedom of expression. And since I come from a spiritual background, getting out of the cycle of birth and death, for me, that's ultimate freedom. So when I say freedom business model, I resonate at all these levels. I first wanted financial freedom. Then now I've come to a point where, yes, I have more time freedom because I've automated a lot of systems. I have teams, so once you have the money that's working, once you have a model that's working, then you can outsource and get a lot of stuff done. But ultimately, it's to live a more purposeful life, which you're aligned with, and you have the freedom of expression of thought. In fact, that can start even before, but it's where you're able to spend more time on that and not worry about the day-to-days. So the steps, if I have to go back to steps, is clarity. Then you got to build your skills, because skills are what have got me to this point. Just visualizing and reading personal development, attending seminars and books and stuff. Yeah, it's a feel-good factor. And I used to be a seminar junkie and a webinar junkie for a long time. I used to attend webinar to webinar, feel good learning, but not implementing.
Correct.
But the key is in skills, developing a skill and solving a problem in the marketplace. Because when you're solving a problem, there's going to be an exchange that'll happen. So whether it's a business problem or a career problem or a health problem, whatever the problem, like even in this case, the habit coach, you're actually solving a problem, helping others live a better quality life, whichever area, whichever expert that you're interviewing. So there's some problem, solution that's happening, you're addressing that, and people are getting inspired by that. So there'll be a value exchange. At some point of time, people may be connecting with you, interacting with you, So even for me, it's all about value exchange. So you need to look at what is your value in the market and what's the value exchange that's happening. Value exchange should be in the form of some monetary transaction. And then is the scaling, that comes into place, how you can leverage technology tools and so on. So you need to have a full stack brain. You cannot just be in one, system. You need to have the mindset, skill sets, tool sets, strategies. You need to, that's what it takes to achieve freedom. It's not just one of just having an idea. Yes.
He has to bring in all these things together. And like you said, you have to start looking out for the aspects of freedom that you want, and then take them through these steps: the financial freedom, the time freedom. And I love it. You said spiritual freedom.
Yes.
It's such a lovely way of thinking about it, because there are so many aspects of spirituality that can come into this.
True.
And we can have a big discussion on this as well.
Yes.
Siddharth, share some of the stories that have occurred with you in the way that you do these online courses, and you've interacted with so many people, right? Do you have one or two stories that have stood out for you in the way that they have experienced freedom? Some of the students that you've had.
Yeah, sure. There's a lot of success stories in my community. One lady, her name is Sandhya Bajaj from Mumbai, and she used to teach maths online, like maths offline, doing maths tuitions. And when she came into my community, she was in this mode. Like, she was also from the personal development world. She also wanted to do like live trainings and personal development stuff, but she was also teaching students. So she came into the system, and I talk about how you need to first go micro niche. Like, you got to micro it down. If you're trying to serve everybody, you're serving nobody. You got to like zero down on your micro niche and micro market. When these two align, that's where the magic is. The riches are in the micro niches. So she decided, okay, let's zero it down to mental maths. Okay, so she's a mental maths teacher now, and she started to create courses, coaching, and she started to work with a few batches of students. And initially, it was a little difficult because she had to adapt to the online space. And it took her at least 6 to 7 months to perfect her model. The last time when I interviewed her, she has done over 16 lakhs in 5 months.
Wow.
Teaching mental maths online, and more than 500 students that she's teaching right now. And best part is a lot of success stories in her groups, where the kids are looking forward to learning from her. So that's a beautiful example. In fact, I just got another message today. I'll share the second story. One of my members of the leadership council. So this guy is he's my diamond members. His name is Lalit Arora. And he sends this message. He says, yesterday was my community's birthday. That means 1 year since he launched his own community after coming into my system, 12 months. So he said, I want to share my journey with you. I was a tailor turned driver turned model turned interior designer turned motivational trainer, and now I'm a digital network marketing coach. Okay.
Okay. Wow. What a journey, huh?
Yeah. And he said, last year on 24th April, I joined the community and I started learning on this day and night. And he took the gold membership, and then and he actually borrowed money from his mom because he was in huge losses in his business. Okay. By the grace of God, I launched my courses on June 14th. So April, May, June, 3 months, June 14th. And it was a day without website, no Facebook ads, just shared a link into groups. And he got 3 sales in the first day that he launched his course. Wow. He said, that was a turning point of my life. I joined the Diamond membership. And on my screen, and like when he came in, I'm just taking the bits of it, and he says, I joined Diamond level, and on my screen and heart, only Sids was there every time, and my kids and the whole family were laughing that you'll go mad watching Sids. Okay, so he said, I was technically zero. I started using Facebook just 3 years back. No computer knowledge, laptop. My friends were handling my Facebook and YouTube, but thanks Sids. In the last 1 year, he has made 50 lakhs in revenues. Okay. Wow. 1,359 paid members. He has launched 19 courses, 61,000 YouTube subscribers, 7,500 Telegram group members, 40,000 email list. And my last month earning was 7.75 lakhs. This month, my target is 14 lakhs. And he says by 15 June, he's on track. And this is the best part. Yesterday, I launched one NGO with my community. So he's got a big tribe. They distributed groceries to 100 families. They planted 1,000 trees, and they've helped 5 blind children for their eye operation.
Dude, how does it feel reading that?
I was just moved. That message made my day. I felt like, okay, it's worth living. It's like worth waking up every morning to reading a message like this. Yeah.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And I can totally agree with him when he says that everybody is talking about, what are you listening to, Siddharth? Because like I said, I've been watching your courses for the last 4 days continuously. And let's do that and make a commitment on the podcast saying that I'm going to get my online courses out in the next month and a half. Basis this, I'm very excited about it. So fully charged up about it. Lovely. Sid, how can people in touch with you? How can people learn more about this?
I think the best way is let people subscribe to my YouTube channel. I keep posting a lot of free content out there, and all my tutorials are in depth. Like, it's just not like a 3-4 minute video. I share at least 10-15 minute videos. So if you can go to just search for Siddharth Rajsekar on YouTube, subscribe to my channel. I think that's a great place to start. And I have documented a lot of these success stories over there. I've segmented them based on different topics and niche and stuff. So just, I think, start off by that. And another place that you could connect with me is if you want to connect with me live in my next webinar, that will be great. So I do webinars every other day. So it is sids.co/live. So we can connect live, and I think these are the two places to get started. Yeah.
Perfect. We'll be putting all the links in the description below. So guys, check it out. Siddharth, thank you so much for coming on the Habit Coach podcast. I absolutely love this.
Same here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So start these habits and share with us your progress using the hashtag #TheHabitCoach. If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am Ashdin Doc on Twitter and Instagram. You can find lots more information on my website, awesome180.com, or check out different content on my YouTube channel called AWESOME180. That's Awesome180.
I hope you enjoyed that show. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'd like to thank the sponsors on the network this week, Cred and Sia. Thank you so much for making this possible. We've had an amazing week on the network. Do check out The Note with Mahrukh Inayat. She speaks to Prabhat Kumar, the man leading child protection at one of India's leading NGOs, Save the Children. On The Habit Coach, Ashdin was joined by Rajat Mittal Shah to talk about some superfoods in Ayurveda like turmeric and ashwagandha. On Paisa Vaisa, host Anupam Gupta has a digital gold special in 2 parts, one with Ashraf Rizvi, founder and CEO of Digital Swiss Code and Gilded, and one with Deepak Abbott, co-founder of India Gold. Listen to the first part of the Father's Day special of Agla Station Adulthood with Natasha and her father, Dr. Vipul Roy Rathod. You should also check out Cyrus Says' episode with Mukul Chadda. He talks about upcoming shows Sunflower and Sherni. Our Kannada podcast, Thale Artist, celebrates 100 episodes, and we had a reunion of hosts Pawan, Ganesh, and Surya who shared their favorite moments from the past. Shiva Mehta is back with the second season of Smile India. The show is available in both English and Hindi. On this episode, she talks about the conversion from bag teas to bagless ones and how we should ditch the plastic and have a great tea experience. And with that, I hope to see you again next week.
Hey, I'm Zarina, your peak performance coach, leadership coach, and life coach. And I'm here to unleash that power within you with your weekly dose of mantras and empowerment. Tune in to Monday Mantras every Monday for your quick fix, and the Empowering series with Zarina Poonawalla every Thursday for riveting real-life stories. You can catch us on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcasts from.